Games, games, games. From the recent State of Play to Summer Game Fest, these last few weeks have seen an embarrassment of gaming riches announced, all heading to PS5. We've selected 10 we're particularly excited about in this hype-filled episode of the PlayStation Access podcast. Hello and welcome to the PlayStation Access podcast, the official podcast of PlayStation UK. I am your host, Rob Pearson, and I am joined today by David Jackson.
Hello.
Rosie Caddick.
Hello.
And Amy Mallet.
Hiya.
And today, with all of the excitement of the last few weeks, we've had State of Play, we've had Summer Game Fest. There have been so many very exciting new games revealed, and I think we all just need to pause, calm down for a little bit, and get it out of our systems. So today we're just going to be chatting about some of the games that have been revealed over the last few weeks that we are particularly looking forward to. We're going to do 2 shared ones and 2 individual ones per person, because the 2 shared ones I think we're all so excited about that we all wanted to talk about them, own them. Yeah. We're going to start with one that we're all very much looking forward to, and it's a game I've played.
I was going to say hands up if you've played any of the games we're going to talk about today. Rob puts his hand up. Well done.
Just lower my arms.
Yeah. Are you tired? Just back from LA, Rob? Are you tired?
I'm very tired.
Must have been hard over there.
Yeah, just played so many games, and one of them was this game, which is Astro Bot. On PS5.
God.
I don't know if there is anyone in the world who likes video games and who is not looking forward to Astro Bot.
Do you know what I love about Astro Bot? Is that if you've got a PS5, you've got Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason not to have had previous experience with this character, with this world, and I think that's just so exciting because it means that it's like a universal thing. Usually we'll talk about a game that's coming out and someone might have played one of the earlier ones, and I haven't, but this time it's like level playing field for everyone with a PS5, which is just so cool and I think that's partly why we're so excited as a group, because we've all played Astro's Playroom, loved it. I mean, I've also got other experience with Astro, like Astro Bot Rescue Mission.
Dark.
Sorry.
You made that sound more sinister than it was
You made
supposed
it
to
sound as if you care more. You're like, I've got some more experience compared to the rest of you. I've also played Astro Rescue Mission.
Me and Astro,
Yes.
we go way back.
Way back
we do.
to the Playroom on PS4.
And it's just, it's just the most joyous game.
Yeah.
He's kind of risen the ranks to become one of PlayStation's most iconic characters.
100%.
By celebrating PlayStation's most iconic characters. Like, that's part of the appeal for me, is that Astro Bot is a celebration of everything I love about PlayStation.
He's like a piece of PlayStation come to life.
Yes,
that's what he is.
He's become synonymous with PlayStation culture.
Rides around in a DualSense controller.
It's so great. I mean, it almost shouldn't work, but it does. It's and it works so well.
Yeah.
It just makes me love PlayStation even more. Love the hardware. Love the IP. I think it's just so celebratory, and I don't know what magic they've done to make that happen, but it's incredible.
They've done the beautiful magic of creating a character who is both relatable to modern tech, but also, like, because of his design and just the way the character is, you can input those retro elements, put him in a costume, reference this world, and because it's all like sort of techie hardware based, you can create levels based on, other fun bits of history and stuff like that. So Team Asobi are absolute geniuses in creating this whole character who is both old and new at the same time. Yeah. What a little legend.
Absolutely. And PlayStation also have always sort of historically done incredible platformers.
Yeah.
And I just think as a platforming exercise, it is a masterclass in what you can do with mechanics.
I think that's the thing that people gloss over sometimes, because it's very easy to look at Astro and think, oh, look at all the PlayStation Easter eggs, when really at its heart, what is best about it is how intricately designed it is as a platformer.
100%.
Well, I think that's why the memorabilia and this sort of history works, because if it wasn't a very good game, that would feel cheap and tacky. But
totally.
Because the game's so good, it can be celebratory, I think, in a real honest way that you just can get on board with. And it's funny, Rosie, you mentioned it's sort of retro aspects, and that's so true. And then it's also like cutting edge. Like Team Asobi is so good at getting everything out of PlayStation hardware. Like, I don't know if I've ever experienced as good an experience with the DualSense as I have with Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible what that brings to the experience. The way they make the haptics work and the
like the adaptive
the
triggers,
feedback,
and
the adaptive
feedback,
feedback. It's just like it's second to none.
It's
really
wild.
incredible.
It's absolutely wild. Like me and Alex were talking about this yesterday. That could have just been something very bland as a demo to kind of show off that hardware.
Right.
But they made it so seamless into such an incredible platformer that I can't think of any other sort of piece of hardware that's been able to do that quite like that. Like the fact that you can utilize the fact that you can blow on the controller to kind of like, send him forwards. And you feel water lapping against it in the water levels, and it's built around the hardware, and it's just so clever.
It's so inventive.
There's a thing in Astro Bot where there's like...
Here we go. I was waiting for... I was going to say...
I just want to give you a specific example of a thing that feels good. There's like...
I played Astro Bot,
There are bubbles with water inside them that are zipped up.
Oh, yeah.
And you unzip them, and the zip feels amazing, and then all the water glugs out on top of you. It's just a 1-2 combo of haptics that makes me go, oh yes.
Well, this
that's
is my
great.
next question was going to be how much of Playroom is in Astro Bot, how much of that kind of dual sense experience where you're loving the
it's all the
haptics?
time. It's the whole time. It's quite a restless game in that it's never content to allow you to just do one thing.
Yeah.
Like it's constantly like, and now try this, now poke that, now have a little feel of this, now try this new environmental mechanic, try this new little power up.
Yeah.
You get a power up that's like a balloon, and it allows you to float up certain bits of this level that I played. And when the balloon is fully inflated, you can hold R2 to rapidly deflate, and it goes like a balloon, and you just feel it in the controller, like, and it's very, very pleasing. But the whole thing is just joy. It's joy in a game.
It's exactly what we all hoped it would be and what we all knew it was going to be. As soon as we saw that Team Asobi logo popping back up, I immediately knew this is going to be like one of the best games on PS5. Team Asobi, they've just clearly shown they create the most polished, the most like innovative, creative platformers, and like, just games in general or IPs in general. They are just one of the most creative geniuses out there at the moment. And from hearing your stories, Rob, about your time playing the game, it just confirms, and seeing the trailers, it just confirms even more that it's like, yes, this is going to be a fantastic experience. Because already seeing the gameplay that recently came out, I'm seeing so many influences for other platformers, like the moment when there's the robot dog and then they had the arrows pointing down and you could like break something. Immediately made me think of the treetops in Spyro the Dragon, where you can charge and run and then do the
old supercharge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can just tell that Team Asobi love this franchise. They love what they create. They love the history of PlayStation. They love just video games in general. And I think it's going to be a perfect game. I cannot wait for it. I have really held back on wanting to talk about this game because we have to share the experience, but it's going to be amazing.
Always low
You lifted off the sofa every second. I was wondering where she was going to go.
I've been sat there.
Noted, Rosie. You deserve to talk about it more.
No, I was being very polite, but
as I was by yourself.
As I was chatting, I was just like, no, I'm going on a tangent again. I go,
starts kicking Rob.
Yeah, literally, my leg's been bouncing. Like, I'm just very excited for it.
Well, we're going to come to you next, Rosie.
Me next?
For your first individual pick.
Ooh.
So give us a game that you've seen revealed over the last few weeks, or have seen more of over the last few weeks, that you're really looking forward to.
Okay, so like we said, we've got 2 picks, and I don't know which one to go for first. So in no particular order, I'm going to go for the one I was going to say second, just to spice it up. And I'm going to say, just to show that there's no particular order. And
I'm going to do a tally, and they do like a how long can Rosie speak for without actually saying the name of the game she's going to talk about. You're amazing at it, Rosie. What's the game?
Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. That is going to be the first one I'm going to talk about because it just looks phenomenal. At first, when we saw the first trailer and you could see Snake coming out the water, we're all just like, I think it was kind of a moment where we're like, what's happening? What are they doing? Because Snake Eater is such a famous, beloved game. It's one of the most influential games out there. It's got like big reputation, much like Resident Evil 4. It's one of those games you say the name and it's like, this is a legendary status. What are you going to be doing with this?
Yeah.
And since the recent news has been coming out about the game, it's just, as soon as I watched that trailer and I saw more character models, more environments, a bit more of the action, I was screaming at the moment where Snake's taking down everyone just before Revolver Ocelot pops up. I was saying, please, show us Ocelot, but then not yet.
You don't want to spoil everything.
Can't spoil everything. And when you see like the bridge scene and you saw the boss walking, and I thought they were just going to leave it at the boss's legs, but you know, I was there squealing, being like, show me the boss. And when they did, I was like, oh, she looks fantastic. It just looks so stunning. And I really love how, as more news has come out, they've got a legacy style as well as a new style. So if you do prefer the sort of more classic PS2 era Snake Eater, where the camera's more pinned back and it's got more of that original feel, then you can play the game like that. But they've also got the new style. So if you've adapted more to more modern controls and things like that, then you can play the game in that way as well. So just the more news I'm hearing about it, the more I'm thinking, yes. I'm like, yes. And also Snake Eater is one of my favorite games ever made. So to see it remade, like, I think as well, when I saw the recent trailer, I just couldn't stop looking at Snake's fluffy hair. He had like just such...
I thought his hair was quite cute, actually.
I know, it's just so scraggly.
He's
and I
never
was
been on my boyfriend list, but maybe he could.
maybe just
maybe
because
it's
of
time, Snake.
that fluffy, scraggly hair. But yeah, it's just one that, with this second trailer coming out, I just thought, yes, like I'm ready for this. I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it again, Dave? Maybe do that ending bit?
Do the ending bit better?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it better. I mean,
The famous ending. I can't believe that.
I am really... yeah, I mean, it's definitely on my radar for sure. It's really exciting. I don't have the same history with it that you do, and you know, it's weird playing these games in the way that we have, as in playing the Metal Gear Solid games. In Metal Gear Stupid has been interesting, but yeah, I mean, I think it looks fantastic, and like it is a game that I have a lot of fond memories of from making that series. And I'd quite like to play it by myself. The problem with Metal Gear Stupid, okay, is we have to share. We pass the pad, so Nathan and I only get half the game experience. And I'd like to do the whole game myself and just properly immerse myself in it. Not have to be entertaining for anyone. Not have to speak to anybody. Not to have to make jokes. Just to play the game, pay attention.
I get
and
what you
enjoy it.
mean. You don't want someone leering over your shoulder,
Yeah, exactly.
moaning at you for doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Backseat gaming.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
word, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to be able to just take your time and make as many mistakes as you
on
want.
my own.
Yeah.
Reload saves and that's fine. Yeah, I definitely. I think. It looks fantastic, and I am excited for it.
The water looked great.
It looks
I will
great.
just say.
The water did look
And
amazing.
also
Snake
it's
sneaking through the water and it just rippling around him.
Yeah, when
So
he has
good.
like the crocodile head and you saw like the mouth sort of slightly like bounce a bit, I was like, oh, look at that little detail there. Just the little crocodile's top lip just being like, just wobbling a little bit. I loved it. And I also love how it is like the original voices as well, and it just hitting home that nostalgia and just what everyone loves. We all love the original cast, so it's just like, yes.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've ever heard the words crocodile and lips together before.
Yeah, like
Never
mouth.
thought about crocodile lips.
There's going to be so many comments on this going, do crocodiles even have lips?
Do they have lips?
that sounds like a good bar name, Crocodile Lips.
Or a band.
Or a
Crocodile
band.
lips.
Yeah, or a cocktail. I'll have
yes.
a crocodile lips,
Oh,
please.
Crocodile Lips.
yeah.
On the rocks.
Yeah.
On the
Oh,
rocks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Extra spicy.
Or a sequel to that song by that man.
Crocodile shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he called? Jimmy Nail?
Nail, yeah.
Jimmy Nail, yeah.
They can play Crocodile Rock
Crocodile
and
Lips.
have a great old time.
Right, we'll come to you now, Dave.
Yeah.
Give us a game.
Well, I'm going to get the obvious one out of the way. I am genuinely really excited about this. I don't want to be typecast, but Star Wars Outlaws. I've been excited for it right from the...
Played that as well.
I know you did, Rob. I know. And it really hurt me.
Smug little dance.
It wasn't just the playing of the game. I saw you hanging out with stormtroopers and all
Yes.
sorts. Like it really hurts me. No, honestly, you know, I say this. I want to paint a picture of me as a Star Wars fan. I don't just. I'm quite a nervous Star Wars fan.
Aw.
I've been burned before, and like, you know, right at the moment, I'm not watching Star Wars Acolyte because I'm just a bit nervous about it. And the first 2 episodes have come out, and I'm like, oh, have I missed the boat? I don't know. What do people think? I don't know. But I am a nervous Star Wars fan, and I get no nerves whatsoever from Outlaws. I think it's the game I want as a Star Wars fan. Me personally,
Yeah.
I want to explore this world. It's the perfect time period for me between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like I love the original trilogy. I love that time period, and it's nothing to do with Jedi and Force powers. You're a normal human with no real skills. You know, well, you've got skills.
You've got skills,
but no supernatural
skills.
powers.
Yes, yeah.
Making their way in the world, or many worlds, and it's the first open world Star Wars game, and it's just dealing with real people in real places, and it's all kind of grey. You know, it's like, as in, I was thinking one of the reasons I'm really excited is I'm very fascinated by, it seems to me, and Rob, you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed from the presentation I saw on Ubisoft Forward that you kind of, rather than having like a sort of skills tree or an abilities tree, you gain abilities by doing jobs for kind of bounty hunters or cartels or whatever, gangsters, gangs, and you know, you do certain jobs and you'll gain a skill. And the whole idea of gaining affinity with these different groups I found really interesting, but the thing I really liked about it is they're all just bad guys. You know, they're all bad gangs. You're basically like a bounty hunter. It's all very grey. It's not black and white, and sometimes Star Wars is a bit black and white. It's a bit good and evil, and I like that too. But I am excited about exploring these worlds and finding my own way, and there being no right or wrong answer. It's just you have an affinity maybe with this group, or you want that bit of kit, so you'll be nice to them for a while, or just
going
pay
into
really
a cantina and not immediately having to shoot the stormtroopers. They're just there doing their job, and you get to see them more as just people doing their job rather than all stormtroopers are evil. Some of them are just like, they got to pay their bills. So
this is my exact thing with this game, and this is why I'm so excited, because I'm not as big a Star Wars fan as you. Obviously, you wanted to hear it. You wanted to get it on the record, and now it's on the record. But I think that exact thing. Normally, a lot of the games in sort of Star Wars, a lot of the Star Wars games I've played has been either Jedi or Sith. And not only is there that supernatural layer to it, but also that area of grey, that kind of space that exists beyond good and evil, is actually like 100% what pulls me into it, because I don't like the idea of being super good, super bad. I like that idea of like, maybe I'll work for the Hutts. Sure, they're not the best people in the galaxy, but maybe I'll work for them, but then maybe I'll go and do another job for someone else and sort of betray them. I can make my own path. Working as a scoundrel, and obviously what Cave S is, that's really appealing to me.
Definitely, and that is and again, it's my personal thing. I know that obviously lots of people love playing as Jedi and Sith. I have done too, but the dream for me has always been to be a Han Solo, to have your own ship, to have your own free will, make your way, decide how you do that. You know, you help someone here, you help someone there. Maybe you're against them one day, you're with them the next day. I just think it's so interesting and cool, and the actual just gameplay looks very seamless. Like going from on world to off world looks so smooth and cool and seamless, and traveling around to different, entering hyperspace, getting into space battles. It just we talk a lot about Star Wars games and about wish fulfillment, but like I think this is it for me. This is the crystallization. It's like they've spoken to me personally and said, what Star Wars game would you like? And this is it for me. I honestly can't wait. And
they'll put it on the back of the box.
This
is Dave Jackson's Star Wars game.
It scratches that same itch for me as, and I'm not making a direct comparison here, but Red Dead Redemption for cowboys, that was like wish fulfillment for being a cowboy.
Yes.
You got Ghost of Tsushima, which is like wish fulfillment for being a samurai. And this very much feels like wish fulfillment for being a rogue in this part of the Star Wars universe.
Exactly.
Speeders, space battles.
It does
going
feel like
into the Tatooine cantina.
Amazing.
Great.
I just desperately want to play it.
It does feel like that it's an area that hasn't really fully been explored in the Star Wars video game universe yet.
The only
scoundrel. Like the scoundrel route. Like the only thing I could think close is Bounty Hunter that was on PS2, but that was like you were already a Star Wars film character. It's not as if you were this original character going through their own story. So I mean, this is when someone says like there's already one when you play as like another probably. But
in our experience
this is the first I've seen them like delve into this side of the universe.
Right, Amy, let's come to you now. Give us a game that you're excited about.
Okay, so mine is Writhe Stop. I am absolutely. Did anyone see
I was going to say, is it okay to say I'm not aware of this game?
Absolutely, because it is quite an obscure one.
Okay.
But so it's from it's the creator of the Stanley Parable. It's
Okay.
Davey Reedon, who I absolutely love. It's him and the team at Ivy Road who are making it.
Yeah.
And it's a cozy sim game.
I know which game
where
this is.
you run a tea shop. So my guilty pleasure as a kid was always Harvest Moon, was always farming sims. I had a lot more time then than I do now. I'm 31, so I obviously don't play as many of them now because they're huge time sinks. But farming sims, what I love about this idea is that it takes place in a cute little tea shop. Again, very me coded, as you guys know from working with me in the office 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of tea. I am obsessed with tea. If they brought out an ID...
Does that necessarily mean you want to spend all day making it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, maybe that's my wish fulfillment. You know, we've all got different sorts here. Jedi making tea.
Yeah.
But honestly, yeah, it looks so. It's what I think is really clever about it is that it is a cozy sim game where you harvest ingredients for tea, you take care of the shop, you make tea in this almost Wonka-like kind of like huge tea machine that's like a glass funnel with all these different bits sticking out of it. It looks really fantastical. But then your character sort of is having flashbacks of other things that have happened in their life and they're running away from like a dark past.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a farming sim with a Stanley Parable twist.
Wow.
And
that's
I'm
cool.
really curious because obviously Davey Reedon, who did the Stanley Parable, his humour is always about being very meta, breaking the fourth wall, I love the idea of genre splicing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be amazing about this is that it's going to give the impression of something really cozy and sweet, but there'll be like a dark, untold history to the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, her character is just that she is making a tea in this tea shop. She's sweeping up every day. She's harvesting ingredients. She's brewing it for customers. She's taking care of the shop. And then every now and again, she'll just have like, she's running from something.
Yeah.
And you'll see little fragments of what it is.
That is so compelling.
I told this to Alex yesterday and we were waiting for a bus and he went, I'd play that. So I thought I'd sold
That's
it well.
good. Stick that on the box.
Stick that on the box, yeah. But yeah, it looks really cool. And I think it's a cute little art style as well. They've really lent into the genre. It looks like sort of almost a 3D Stardew Valley. But yeah, I just think if you like cozy games, but you like something a little bit different, I know we're huge fans of Inscription, which is a brilliant game for genre bending, making you think you're playing one type of game and then all of a sudden you're playing something else.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what Wonder Stop does, what the secrets are behind it, what the twists are going to be.
Yeah.
It's not all as it seems.
Is it bad that as soon as you said it was the Stanley Parable creator, that's when immediately I knew what this game was? Because when I saw the trailer, I couldn't help but have the narrator's voice in my head, like commentate on what was happening in the trailer. So that's why as soon as you said it, I was like, I know exactly which game you're talking about because I put the narrator in my head and he was saying everything that was happening in the trailer.
Yeah, because it's a female character who's basically just saying like, and then I make the tea and then I do that, and then sometimes I sit on a bench and stare at nothing.
Yeah, that's the bit that got me, and I was just like, yes, this is going to be a fun time.
Self-aware is what I love in writing. So I'm excited for Wonder Stop.
I am going to talk about a game that was completely off my radar until about a couple of days ago, and I saw the trailer for it, and immediately I actually saw Elijah Wood tweeting that he was looking forward to this game.
Right.
So, well,
Oh, you're
me
gonna say
too,
it's-
Elijah. Yes,
I
yes.
thought you were going to say
We
it was
should
the
talk
Among
about
Us
it.
TV show because Elijah Wood's in that as well, isn't he?
Not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's a game called Mixtape.
Oh, I love the look of this.
Yeah, the Artful Escape.
Yeah, from Beethoven Dinosaur, the developers of The Artful Escape, which Dave, you've played.
I have played the Artful Escape. Yeah, it's right up my street game. It's about playing guitar in space, basically going on a sci-fi adventure as an electric guitarist.
Well, it's like, from what I can gather from this trailer, it's a similar kind of slightly fantastical. It's set in the real world, but it looks very much like it's leaning into the fantastical. It almost looks like a dream-like experience.
Yeah.
So, from what I can gather, it's just about being young in America in the 80s and being really happy. And as someone who
Sign
is
me up, please.
As someone who is old and British and miserable and from the 90s, it shouldn't appeal to me, but for some reason it really does. And I think immediately the soundtrack, as soon as you start watching the trailer, I think It's Good by Devo comes on.
Yeah.
And it's just a banging tune, isn't it? And then all of it's called Mixtape, so the music is built into the game experience. So it's essentially like a curated playlist of memories, and I think the idea is the memories are locked within the music, and you just live out this nostalgic dream of those 80s movies sort of captured that essence of what it was like to be a young person in America in the 80s and just living those endless summer dreams, and these the characters are like floating off, and Oh, it looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like if you'd have told me all of those elements, I'd have been like, maybe that's not for me. But having looked at this trailer, this looks like something I've never seen before, and I am immediately absolutely fascinated by it, and can't wait for it to come out.
I still don't know whether those movies lied to us about what it was like growing up.
I think they probably did.
I don't know, but like I think of E.T. and the Goonies, and like I just thought that it must be incredible to have been a teenager in America in the 80s. It just and that is what like you said, that what this trailer gave. I actually made a mistake, and you saw me do this, Rob. I watched this trailer without listening to it. I was sat at my desk and I didn't have any headphones, so I just watched it. So I haven't heard. I mean, it's called Mixtape, for God's sake. It's definitely got to have some great music. But I just really took in the art style, and I really loved there's like a stop motion quality to the characters, and you know, having played The Artful Escape, which has a very distinct aesthetic, like really and it's a different aesthetic, but still like there's the kind of movement in the characters that I recognize. I think, I mean, these developers have got some really interesting ideas, and they clearly love music. The Artful Escape, another game completely built around music, so
just the movement in the game looked cool. Just like the sort of like dreamlike way they're running on this side-scrolling screen and sort of like sliding under a slide, leaping over a fence. They're all like on skateboards going down a highway. It just looks fantastic, in a car together with fireworks going off.
Stranger Things, another example of 80s kids.
I was thinking this when you were talking about it. 80s kids fantasy, Stranger Things. The hair,
just hanging out.
Fashion,
forget
the
about all the
arcades.
evil, just hanging out, exactly.
Imagine Stranger Things in the day with no evil pan-dimensional monsters coming to kill everyone.
You just got your skateboard and you can fly every now and then.
So there, Mixtape. Me and Elijah Wood, really looking forward to it.
You and Elijah Wood.
You and your best mate, Elijah Wood.
I am he is me.
We're going to go for a shared one next, and this is another one that I think came out of nowhere very recently, and we're all very excited about now, and that's Lego Horizon Adventures. Because who would have thought it?
I know.
I mean, I guess we should have thought it with the Lego tool neck that we've got down there.
Yeah, if you're watching this podcast, you might see the Lego tool neck in the background.
So yeah, there is already a collaboration between Horizon and Lego that exists. Like a real thing. And now a video game is coming, and it turns out, who'd have thought it's absolutely amazing.
I'm an idiot, because I would never have put those two things together. Like Lego, I get it. Oh yeah, because they're like the machines, you can put them, but I would never have thought a Lego Horizon video game.
I would
never have pitched that. And seeing the trailer, I know, Rob, this is another one you've played. Seeing the trailer, it was like, I'm an idiot. This works so well.
Yeah, the machine aspect alone works really, really well.
Yeah.
The fact that Horizon is kind of built on this sort of like very scrap metal approach lends itself brilliantly to the tangible aspect of building something. Especially, I mean, the tall neck. Was it you built that on the stream?
Rob and Ash built it on the stream. I built it.
Took 7 hours
behind the scenes for another video. Yeah.
That was what Emily did as well, because I remember I came upstairs. Yeah, you and Emily started it, and then you were like, Rosie, can you go help Emily finish it off?
And whenever I talk about stop motion, I have the experience of stop motion doing this Horizon tool neck, and it was hell. So well done to everyone who
Did you film a shot after every single piece?
We took a picture after every single piece. And then Emily took it further. She started getting artistic and animated it. But anyway, Rob, I do really want to hear from you on this, because I've watched the video that you and I don't know who edited it, but you made with Rosie, and I just want to know what the experience of playing is, because it looks incredible. That's a given, and the Lego games have been looking better and better anyway. But what is the experience of playing? What is the game? It
felt a lot more substantial than. I mean, I'm not an amazingly experienced Lego game player. I think the last one I properly played was Lego Lord of the Rings, which is a very long time ago now. But my experience was certainly running around collecting stuff, building stuff. Whereas this one, there is that you can customize Mother's Heart, which is like the hub area. So you can customize all the buildings, you can customize all the NPCs, you can dress yourself up, not just in outfits from Horizon, but in outfits from various other things. So there's like a bunch of Lego Ninjago outfits you can dress up in if you want to, which is very cool. But when you actually get out into the meat of the game, you can play it cooperatively, either online or local couch co-op. Up to 2 players, or you can play it solo. But I was playing co-op with this guy called Nick, and it was I was surprised by how pleasingly challenging it was. So there was an area where a load of broadheads were charging at me, and there's you've got quite like a deep variety of tactical options available. I was thinking it was going to be quite a simplistic game, but it's quite robust. Like you can fire your arrows through some fire and they become fire arrows.
Nice.
Or you can set fire to the environment and the fire will spread and burn down foliage, revealing like a ladder to a secret area where you can open a treasure chest, get more collectibles, that kind of thing. So that was really impressive, and it sort of loosely follows the events of the original Horizon Zero Dawn. So you're essentially going on a proper Horizon adventure.
Yeah.
Everything's just made of Lego.
Yeah.
But the thing that impressed me most was, I think, the script and Ashley Birch's performance. So Ashley Birch is back as Aloy, but like a funny cartoon version of Aloy.
No way.
So she's completely adapted her performance from, quite serious and somber and let's go and save the world in the mainline Horizon games, and now she's a funny Lego version of Aloy.
Wow.
And
That's
she's
great.
just pulled
That's
it off
really
so
cool.
well. Like, it's really quick-witted. Like, in terms of the script quality, it feels, I said there's a lot in the video I made with Rosie, it's like you're playing a Lego movie.
Yeah.
It's that level of quick wit.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh so many times. Also, the animation is just top-notch.
it's stunning.
Really is. It's got that weird sort of slightly jilted stop motion animation effect on the characters as they're sort of running through it. It looks like you're putting real Lego people in like a, it looks like you're playing a real thing that's been made of Lego.
Yeah.
It's that kind of visual fidelity. And in the customization menu, you can really zoom in on the character models, spin them round, and like Aloy's character model has like a little sort of like ridge, a dented ridge of plastic around where her hair is.
Like the
So it
mould.
looks like a molded plastic thing.
Yeah.
It's got all the little nicks and imperfections and scratches and smears. It looks like a real Lego figurine. So beautifully put together.
Yeah.
I was so impressed with it.
I'm so much more excited for that game now. I really am. That is incredible. I love that they haven't taken it, because it is, I think what I like about the idea of Lego Horizon Adventures is that it's a beautiful world that some people might not experience necessarily if they're not as into action games, if they're not as keen on sort of like more heavier combat games. And I think they've captured enough of the combat for it to feel rewarding. Like you say, it's quite robust, but also accessibility wise for a new audience and for a co-op audience as well. I actually didn't even think about that. The last Lego game I played was Lego Jurassic Park. You know it, Dave. You know it. But I think the actual idea of going through that with someone else adds a whole new experience.
I could totally see me playing this with my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, she loves Lego Ninjago, so she can dress someone up in a Ninjago costume and we can just run around.
Yeah.
And then
fighting
it's a
machines.
gateway for
It's
Ella
cool.
into Horizon.
Yes.
I think it's that sense of humor that Lego brings to IP that I love. Like things that I love, like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, whatever it is, they always take these things that are so well regarded and very close to people's hearts, and manage to look at them through a kind of funny lens and poke fun at it, but with it in a nice way.
It's never mocking, is it? It's
not mocking.
It's like you're just humorously sharing in this joke.
Yeah.
One example of that was when Rost gave Aloy the focus, and it's basically just this round grey unassuming block of Lego, and Aloy goes like, oh, this must be really rare, and Ross is like, not really, I've got a whole bucket full of them in, just tips them all over on the floor. It's just that kind of thing. Just having a laugh with fans of Horizon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rosie, we'll
Hello.
come back to you now. So we're on round 2. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Well, this next game I'm going to talk about is one that, again, I screamed at very excitedly when it popped up, and it is Sonic Time Shadow Generations. And I am excited for this for many reasons. First of all, I love Sonic Generations. It was one of my favourite games on PS3, and even in recent years, I've been like, I just fancy a bit of Sonic platforming, and then I just boot up Sonic Generations and would try and get one of the challenges for a trophy. So the fact that that's coming to modern consoles and stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is brilliant. I love Sonic Generations. Give me more of that goodness. But then they took it the step further, and in the Year of Shadow, which I know is like it's all just or because we've got the film coming out later on this year, and now they're just like, it's a big Year of Shadow. Now we've got this game coming out. I am fully sold on it. I am loving hearing all these Year of Shadow updates, because Shadow he's like my anti-hero. When I think of an anti-hero, I just think of Shadow the Hedgehog. I love him for his corniness, the way he's always just like, I am the ultimate being, this, that, and the other. It's, like the typical...
Is that what he says?
Well, I can't remember if he says exactly that.
He has
or
a sense of levity to any occasion.
He's just always there, and he's always just saying like Sonic's just not the true hedgehog, or I can't fully remember the terminology he uses, but
I'd be really furious, would you, Rob, if someone said you weren't the true hedgehog? Yeah. I mean, is there any greater cut on this earth?
Yes, I am.
But also like the fact that Shadow's, he's got this dark story behind him and stuff, and the fact that this dark story is in the Sonic universe, I think everyone's just like, what? So it's one that does stay with you, because it's just an angle. It's like when Sonic already was getting like confident and like, yeah, I'm so cool, and then you got Shadow, who's like the dark, edgy one. So it's just a beautiful little balance for the Sonic universe. But either way, the game looks fantastic as well, and the additions they've brought in with Shadow's side of the story, that I've seen like a little bit of gameplay online, and it looks just fun. The experience looks smooth and slick, and also I got excited from this game as soon as they brought in Doomseye, I think the character's called, who was from Shadow the Hedgehog on PS2, which is one of the most like just mind-blowingly out-of-place video games I think there ever is. But as a kid, I was just, I'd play the first couple of levels again and again, because then it got hard and, in the classic PS2 style. But it's always got like a soft place in my heart. It's just that one PS2 game that, just made me play as Shadow more. So seeing that character come back, and there's also some more like Sonic Adventure games coming in, and also Sonic Heroes, the recent trailer. Sonic Heroes is my favorite Sonic game, and it's the one closest to my heart. And they did the railway level, which in Sonic Heroes is a pain, because you've got all the grinding rails and you can fall off them easily. But in here, it looks cool. It looks really cool. And they had the train that chases you as well. I was like, oh my god. So anything Sonic Heroes gets mentioned, I'm sold immediately. And they've even included a level from Sonic 06, which, Sonic 06 is famously a video game which received negative reviews, but we all still love it. So seeing them still I love Sonic 06. I'm fully here for the world of Sonic 06.
You're a true fan.
Yeah.
A true fan. I just love the fun of Sonic. I've grown up with Sonic, and this game just seems like a celebration. Again, just like Sonic Generations was. It was a celebration of Sonic, back when it came out on PS3, and now it seems like even more so a celebration, and including Shadow the Hedgehog in the Year of Shadow. So I'm like, yeah.
Forgive my ignorance, Rosie, but it's not just a reimagining of one game.
So
There's a lot of stuff all bundled into one.
So they've taken Sonic Generation. So you've got classic Sonic and modern Sonic, which is where the trailers say there's 3 hedgehogs. So you've still got what Sonic Generations had, but they've added now Shadow's own levels, and he's got, from what I've seen, he's got his own story and stuff going on as well. So it's not even as if you play the same levels in Sonic Generations just as Shadow. It's no, they've given him whole new levels and stuff to experience as well. So I'm just very excited for more cheesy Sonic fun.
Well, if you're excited, I wish you'd show it a little bit, because
I know.
Rosie, tell your face. Tell your face, mate.
I'm too much of an edgelord. I didn't go rollerblading on my skates, pretending to be Shadow the Hedgehog for years for nothing.
I saw a clip actually.
True story. I did used to do that.
Yes.
Oh my god! I saw a clip of Shadow actually the other day where he spawns like a giant wing out of his back.
Yeah, that's another
thing. Full Sephiroth in Shadow.
Yeah.
He's proper like, what?
That's the thing as well. They know the history of this universe, and they've just taken it a step further. Now he's got blooming wings. I don't know why he's got wings, but I'm here for it. So
an evil flying hedgehog.
Just give me that fun, cheesy fun.
Maybe he is the ultimate hedgehog.
Yeah, maybe.
I like how they've leaned into the hamminess of it a little bit. Because Shadow the Hedgehog, he was born from that era where, everything bright and happy and childlike seemed to go through like a well, the people who watched this when they were kids are probably teenagers now. Maybe they want something a little bit more dark and
edgy.
The classic example.
Shadow the Hedgehog was born.
I was thinking Jack and Daxter to Jack 2
Exactly.
Renegade.
Exactly.
Like, they were like, oh no, Jack's older now and he's got issues.
Prince of Persia did it. From the sands of time to Warrior Within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog especially, like in the intro cutscene when they have I Am All of Me playing, I love that song to pieces because it's fully like the heavy metal going in. But then when you see Sonic like just crumbling and Shadow standing triumphantly like with fire behind him, it's prime example of, you know, that era where everything was trying to get more edgy, but in this Sonic universe, it was just like, what? Like, why is this here? But hey, we all look back on it with fond memories of what was that in our childhood. That was a chapter, wasn't it? So I'm just happy they've acknowledged it and hamming it up even more. And that is my
Thank you, Rosie. Lovely.
condensed chat.
Dave, how are you going to follow that?
I'm just going to pretend that it didn't happen and do my own thing. That was that was a lot to behold. That was like staring into the sun.
It's the PS2 era Sonic the Hedgehog. That's my jam.
And then, an eclipse goes over the sun with Shadow
right.
there.
Shadow, yeah. Well, funnily enough, my game also has links to a Shadow as well. My game, very little has been announced. This was an announcement that they made during Summer Games Fest, and I know very little about it, but it's got me really excited, and it's called Clair Obscur. Expedition 33.
Oh my god, yes.
It looks fantastic, and it's not a game I have wondered to myself whether visiting Final Fantasy VII for the first time has got me more excited about this game than I might have been like a few months ago. It's so there's just one trailer with some gameplay in it, which I love that they just very kind of quickly set out the story, which is an unusual story, which is and the world looks like a kind of fantastical broken down Paris. There's like you see like a kind of bent Eiffel Tower, and the Arc de Triomphe's been like smashed in half.
It's a bit steampunky, isn't it?
It is, and like fairy tale as well. It's like a mixture of those two things, and basically there's a goddess, I would say, or certainly a powerful being called the Paintress, and every year she wakes up and she paints a new number in the sky, which is counting down from I don't know where they started, and anybody of that age is instantly killed.
Dies.
Like a kind of Thanos click the fingers moment. And in the trailer they count down, they go from 34 was last painted, she wakes up, she paints 33, and I assume one of the protagonists' friends turns to dust in front of his eyes. And every year the people of the world aren't keen on this.
Understandably.
This is
They're not fully on board.
They're not up for it. This is the bit that really excites me, is every year they put together an expedition to go and stop this paintress. And obviously it's never worked yet. And I love that idea.
Does the year go down every time?
Yes.
Every year,
yeah.
So surely everyone who's 33 now was 34 when she last did it. So it'll be dead anyway.
Well, look, there's the transition. If you were 32 when she paints 33, and then during the year you become 33, I need that explained. Did you die or what? Don't know. Don't know.
But it's a fantastic concept. I've never seen anything like that.
No, and I love the idea of an expedition. This comes from films. I'm thinking of something like The Fellowship. Like there is an evil. We have to put together a team, and we're going to go and sort it out. And everyone's hopes are like, who will be in the team this year? Who's in Expedition 33? And you're like, I will go. And like, no one's ever done it. No one's ever returned. It's just bad out there, but we're going to put together a group. And so obviously that's the story, which I think is fascinating. And then the world looks beautiful. As we said, kind of fairy tale mixed steampunk. There's some beautiful like fields and flowers and like fairy like creatures. And then these kind of like clockworky sort of bad evil stuff, and lots of red. It looks like you're going to go on a real adventure.
At one point you're like under the sea and like a whale type creature. Like, I think
there's massive stuff in the sky or above your head at some point. And then there's the combat. And this is why I mentioned Final Fantasy VII, I guess. And I've read a little bit. There's very little info out there, but I've read a little bit about it. It is, I believe, turn-based combat, and you can see in the gameplay there's kind of like an initiative order on the left. But they have said that there's real-time dodging and parrying.
Yep.
And you can free aim to target enemies' weak spots.
Yeah.
So I thought it looked incredibly stylish, the combat.
Yeah.
It
It looked like French fantasy Persona is how I would
French
describe it.
Persona.
It's
Yeah.
like it's got that kind of stylish
It was
swagger
very
about
stylish.
it.
super
Yes.
stylish,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it looks like you are choosing attacks from menus, but then you're also, there's clearly like sort of QTEs or timed button
Yeah.
presses that if you get right, you're going to increase your damage and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And like I said, I'm interested to know how this real-time parrying and dodging works. So I think I'm there for the story already. That's got me. Be on an expedition to find out what's going on and stop it. And then the combat looks so deep and interesting, but cool and stylish.
Yeah.
I think it's the whole package, and it's coming from Kepler Interactive, who have already made one of my favourite games of this year so far, which is Ultros.
Oh.
Criminally enjoyed. This is a publisher, I should say.
Yeah.
So I love Ultros. Also Pacific Drive, which was another fantastic game.
Pacific Drive's great.
Chia, they're like emerging as like this really exciting publisher, and this is this new game. I don't know. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33.
Did you recognise
Your best friend?
the VO in the trailer?
Oh, Enemy of Access, Ben Starr.
Expedition 33.
You better be nice. He's going to sit in that seat soon.
I actually didn't recognise him, but I think that's a compliment because obviously he's a voice actor. But yes, I did read that it's Ben Starr, so
Yeah.
that's I want to talk to him about this game. I'm very excited.
We need to have him in.
Although I also don't. I was thinking in my head, what would I say? So what's the deal with the paintress then? And he go, well, it's actually this. And I'm like, oh no, I wish I'd just played the game. I found that out rather than asking you. So yeah, I won't ask him anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited.
It does look very cool.
Yeah.
Amy, coming to you for your second pick, please.
My second pick is one that I think you're all going to be familiar with. I think we're all very, very excited about it. And once again, Robert, you have played it.
I have played many games.
Absorbing the smug vibes from this man. Phantom Blade Zero.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Looks
my
fantastic.
I didn't know
God.
Robert played it.
Another
Yeah,
one.
captured
Another
it.
one.
Ah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm
have a
going to
whole
look
video on
through
it.
some of that later.
Might already be on the channel. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just incredible looking. Like, I think one of the games that I enjoyed the most in the last decade was Sekiro.
Yeah.
It's actually my first platinum. I just wanted to say that.
Ooh, get you.
Here.
Don't mind me.
But Sekiro, the
It's
environment.
like climbing Everest as your first mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
I don't mess about.
That's a
Straight
toughie,
in.
yeah.
I'm not clicking on jars of mayo. How dare you? But yeah, Sekiro, the environments are really giving me Sekiro. From what I've read about it, it's not sort of strictly Soulsborne-y. It's more kind of like a Ninja Gaiden, maybe even Devil May Cry elements of action combat to it. But I think the music is stunning. The environments are incredible. What really intrigues me about Phantom Blade Zero is just, we talk about wish fulfillment. The combat in that game is so frenetic, so fluid, and so cinematically stylish. I can't imagine a human being doing it.
Right.
Like, I said this to you, didn't I? When you came back from Summer Games Fest, I was like, was someone playing, or was it just like an inputted thing? Because the blocks are not just like a block; they're like a. And then he'll flip over himself backwards and block again, and then kick him, and then block again. It looks incredible. It's like playing a martial arts movie.
Yeah.
And I genuinely can't even begin to comprehend how you achieve that with a pad. So I feel like any game that makes me feel like I am actually achieving that level of skill is incredible. But it's just the kind of stylish aesthetic look of the game combat wise. I've never seen action look like that. I was gasping every time there's a fight with someone called the Jade Dancer, and I don't know if you've seen that bit, but they're flipping over each other, they're blocking, they're diving. It's choreographed, it's stunning, and it's gameplay. It's gameplay. You're like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
It looks phenomenal, and I want to know more about how it plays.
How did it look when you played it?
I'll have you know, I was actually really good.
Actually really good at it. Yeah. That's
okay.
Rob's. They're using it in the trailer.
There were,
Rob's gameplay.
there were 3 bosses you could fight. There's a tutorial and 3 bosses in the demo I played. The man who was making the game, who was sat next to me, was like, oh, I beat all 3 bosses. They were all very impressed.
Wow.
All of them. They're
Woo!
like, let's just one-shot this boss.
Wow.
So I did really well. I
That
went
is
in,
impressive.
I beat the bosses and I got out. I
Yeah.
shook their hands. Good game, lads.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Keep up the good
Went
work.
out had a Sonic ice cream.
But no, it was really good. It reminded me in terms of a game that takes your human inputs and translates them into something very spectacular on the screen. It
Yeah.
reminded me of how the Batman Arkham games would do that.
right.
So you would
Yes,
press triangle to
Yeah.
block, and Batman would be like, and then do an amazing counter. And it was sort of that. You know, there's a good deal of skill involved in it, and you have to be, you have to get it right. You have to get your parries right and your dodges right to make these things look cool.
Yeah.
But once you do it correctly, the game is like, okay, well done on that block. I'm going to reward you with this amazing bit of choreographed gameplay.
Yeah.
And if you time your dodge, there's like enemies they'll have like attacks that you can parry, and they'll have like unblockable killer blows that you have to dodge. And if you dodge at the precise moment, your character, I'm guessing this is the phantom element of it, almost like dissolves into smoke and will do this perfect dodge. And if you've got enough juice in the tank, you can do like a special power surge where you basically press, I think it's L2, and your character's like, right, here's my special, and you just like lay into the boss, and it just looks fantastic. But yeah, it does look like you're playing a martial arts movie. The sound effects on the blades and the blocking and the just sounds fantastic.
Music to my ears.
It's brilliant. It's very, very satisfying to play. And when you pull something off, you feel like a right badass.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it for me. I think I want to know who the Faceless are as well. There's all these sort of like little bits of lore that have been dripped into the trailer. But even like Rob mentions parrying and blocking, there's a moment where I think you like it looks like in the trailer you catch something or you parry it and it goes back to the other person. But rather than like a projectile coming your way, you just going ching and it going back to them. He's like ching, throws it behind his head, does a little, kind of makes an origami thing, kind of like has a little stretch, does some yoga, makes a quick cup of tea, bang, throws it back. And it's like, how? Oh, it's beauty in a game, absolute art form. I'm so excited for that game. We know it's coming this year, we just don't know when yet.
It's also quite brutal as well, I say. I was fighting a boss who had, in the Lord of the Rings when the Witch King has that, I don't know what they're called, the massive thing on the end of a chain.
Yeah.
And
like a flail.
yeah, like a massive flail, and he was swinging it round, and he flung it at me, and I dodged. And I thought, yes, I've dodged it. And then it went up in the air, and then it just came down on my head. And it was an instant kill. Like this thing was just became, where my head was, there was now the top of this flail. And it was just like, you are dead.
Sounds like a Tom and Jerry sketch.
Yeah,
that does.
very much.
I love the idea that you saw it go up and you're like, ha!
I did. It was exactly like that. I was like, I dodged it. Dead. And the developer who was sitting next to me just laughed. He was like, that is a rite of passage with this boss.
Yeah.
That will happen to everyone once.
Yeah.
So yeah, very much looking forward to Phantom Blade Zero as well. We have come full circle now, and my second pick is Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which I saw a behind closed doors gameplay demo of at Summer Game Fest. I am not like a big Dragon Age expert. I'm a very casual Dragon Age player. I've dabbled in all of them, not finished any Dragon Age game. So I went into this presentation not really thinking anything. I was just sitting down like, oh, this would be nice. I wonder what the Veilguard's like. And flipping heck, it absolutely blew me away. I don't think I've ever seen a game visually look as astonishing as this does. We saw the first hour of the game being played. I think it's like, quite a climactic set piece opening. So lots of very visually interesting things are happening. Essentially, the end of the world is happening, and you've got to try and stop it. So there's a big magical supernatural storm going on, lightning and magic flashing that's just lighting up everything. Just bits of buildings swirling through the air. But the lighting engine was just absolutely incredible. We were in a cave for one bit, like quite a, what would normally be a boring cave. But the way the light was coming through the end of the cave and illuminating the interior of it, and the lighting effects on the water as well, and on the raindrops. There was like rain landing on characters' skin and on their clothes, and you could see the rain just speckling on it. It looked absolutely incredible, and I was also into the new combat system as well, because I think that was where I sort of struggled with the previous game, Dragon Age Inquisition, as I never really fully got to grips with the combat. And this one, in the same way that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has sort of reimagined the classic turn-based system and made it a bit more real-time, a bit more cinematic. The camera's a lot closer, a lot more intimate now in Dragon Age: The Veilguard. There are like real-time blocking, parrying, dodging that you can do. as well as all of the classic role-playing, pause the game, choose what you want to do type stuff. But like that base layer of combat feels, to me at least, a lot more accessible than maybe Dragon Age games have in the past, whilst I think they were keen to stress still keeping all of that deep tactical stuff that Dragon Age fans enjoy. But I just couldn't get over how astonishing it looked. I think, BioWare is on to a winner here. Well done, BioWare.
Big shout out to BioWare.
Yeah,
You might not know.
it feels like they're back. Man, with this, it's just it's got all that other classic stuff, like in the middle of like a cutscene, you get to choose dialogue responses based on how you feel in that moment. So it's not like, it didn't feel like you had to choose to be, do I want to play as a good person or a bad person?
Yeah.
You've got like maybe a sarcastic response or a serious response, and I like to just play those things. I like to react very quickly to those prompts. Like, how am I feeling?
Right.
What's just my feeling for this now? I'm going to react sarcastically to this person. Or I don't feel like joking with this person at the moment. Let's just do a serious response.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like pigeonhole you into being, okay, you're now sarcastic forever.
Yeah.
You just get to just choose how you feel in that moment.
That's such an interesting
really cool.
idea, and such a new take on dialogue. Because I'm the same. I hate, so you're in the middle of a conversation, someone asks you something, and then you have to read all the responses.
Yeah.
Like, which one is me? What do I actually
or which
think?
ending am I going for? Which
Yeah.
path am I going for? You overthink dialogue options so often. It's nice just to be
Definitely. Yeah, you
reactive.
just-
I would even and I don't know if this is exactly what you're saying, but like I would happily play a game where I'm not making any choices, but I can choose my kind of response type. Jokey here, sarcastic,
That's
serious.
sort of what it was. You got,
Right.
you can read the dialogue options, obviously, but each one has like a symbol, which I guess represents what the type of response
emotion
is,
or something, yeah.
which I thought was very refreshing. Also, the character creator, very, very detailed, very cool. We had quite an extended look at that, so you can edit everything. You can edit your skin tone, and then you can see what your skin looks like under different lighting conditions as well within the character creator. Because the director of the game was taking us through this, and they were saying, like, when you make a game and you spend ages in the character creator and you think you've nailed it, and then you see your character in a cutscene for the first time and they look terrible, and you're like, oh my god, what have I done?
What horror have I unleashed?
Well, they're very keen to sort of avoid that, and so there are lots of options in the character creator for really analysing what type of character you have made. You can make, I think, certainly we're being spoiled with character creators recently, aren't we? With like Dragon's Dogma 2, you could make some really realistic looking.
Yeah.
So you can make a really realistic version of yourself if you want, or you can make just a complete fantastical wish fulfillment character.
I assume you can also do what I'll do, which is press randomize 8 times, and then
I
sure
like
you
this
can.
8th one.
I'm sure you can. But yeah, I was just incredibly impressed by it. And the hair as well. They made a big deal of, we'll take a look at some hairstyles now. And obviously you can wiggle the camera around in the character creator, and that actually makes the hair react to the physics of just the moving camera. And it was incredibly impressive seeing like a curly, springy hairstyle, and the camera would move and the springs and the curls would be like doink, doink, doink. They would react very realistically. Obviously, if I'm making myself, I'm not going to have much in the way of hair physics.
I was going to say, we'll give you wish fulfillment.
Yeah, we'll give me wish fulfillment. I think I'm going to have to make a character with hair just so I can see the hair bobbing around.
I would like to see you in the game, but then with a hairstyle you'd like to have in real life. That would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just for me, that's what I'd like to see.
I'm perfectly comfortable being bald in real life.
No, I know you are. I know, by your reaction to my question makes me feel you're being completely honest about that. But I'm just saying that would be interesting to me to. I'd like to see what you look like with
would I
hair.
choose?
Would you choose if you had to? Yeah.
Just something long.
I want to see the long curly hair.
Curly,
I want to see long curly hair now.
There's long and then there's long though. How long we talk? Like
I'm thinking like shoulder length.
I used to have shoulder length hair at university, so I think I might go even longer.
Even longer.
Like,
down to like
proper,
Sephiroth, down
luscious.
to your bum.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd like the Sephiroth, please.
The Sephiroth. Yeah.
The Sephiroth.
Yeah.
So as someone who hasn't in the past been like a a big Dragon Age player, the Veilguard has now gone very high up my list of anticipated games.
Yeah. And we should acknowledge there are loads of very big Dragon Age players.
Yes.
I can't imagine how they're feeling. Extremely excited, I'm sure. Just vibrating.
Well, there are loads of games as well that we've, not even mentioned in this podcast.
It's been a great couple of weeks.
It really has.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It really does feel like all of a sudden just there's so much exciting
games
stuff on that.
Christmas, isn't it?
It is games Christmas.
Or not even Christmas, because you don't get them right away. But I love the anticipation.
Yeah.
I love the peaks at some things, the complete left field reveals of other things.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, this is almost here now. You can almost have it.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
this season, and it's been a really, really great couple of weeks
Yeah,
for games.
it has.
Our Alex
enjoyed.
is going to be annoyed though because we didn't mention Black Myth Wukong, and he's obsessed with that right now.
Yeah, that looked really
just
good
given
as well.
him a little
shout.
I
Yeah,
promised
yeah,
him.
yeah.
I promised
There we
him.
go.
I
To
promised
Alex.
him. Yeah.
Well, please let us know wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're watching it. Please let us know what your games are. What are you most looking forward to? There's so much coming at the moment. And then don't forget to join us again in another 2 weeks for another episode of the PlayStation Access podcast. But until then, enjoy your games, and we'll see you again soon.